Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 13th, 2017. One of the big news headlines, the death of Dan Rooney, the longtime Steelers owner, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in case you don't follow American football, the most winning team in the league in terms of Super Bowl victories, one of the most popular sports teams in the United States. What I'm going to show you is his death today at age 84, exactly 98 days before his upcoming 85th birthday, before the Steelers' 85th season, is no coincidence. It is another example of murder by numbers, ritual sacrifice. Dan Rooney has died today, April 13th, 2017, because it is very specific to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who he was the owner of, as well as the upcoming 98th season of the NFL. Just real quick, mainstream reporting on his death. Today, April 13th, 2017, Steelers chairman Dan Rooney dies at 84. Pittsburgh Steelers chairman Dan Rooney, one of the NFL's most influential and popular executives, has died. He was 84. Go back and see my work earlier this year on the passing of Arnold Palmer and the number 84 and the touchdown tribute that number 84 had, Antonio Brown for the Steelers. I even predicted pretty much what Antonio Brown's stat line would be before that game, before it even happened. I guaranteed he would get at least 2 touchdowns, which he did. Anyhow, that was all part of a big tribute for Arnold Palmer that had a lot to do with 84. We're going to get to why this number is so special. That video still exists on my channel. If you're not subbed here, be sure to sub here. Search my older videos. Lots of important knowledge. Today's news, just the latest example of what I've been exposing since 2013. A Steelers spokesman confirmed that Rooney died Thursday. No further details were immediately available. So that's today, April 13th, a Thursday. Let's get to why today. Why April 13th, the 103rd day of the year? Well, you have to know the very special language of coding numbers into words, an ancient language that you need to know if you want to see through sports rigging. And just before we go any further, because so many people who in an instant, let's just do a little lesson, and let's do baseball, since baseball season's getting underway. I want you to notice the gematria of the word baseball. And two, first of all, these 4 methods right here are all based on the alphabetic order. Very simple. If you click on the method and then click the view chart for the cipher, it will show you what the value is for each letter. Just maximize it on your screen. These systems are based on the alphabetic order. If you just write this down with a pencil and paper, you'll unlock the methods, or you can watch my how-to gematria video. Anyway, baseball, 54-54. In a complete game, there are 54 outs. 9 innings, 3 outs per team. If you follow baseball, you know that the season's 162 games. Check this out. If you write Major League Baseball correctly, in English ordinal, which is the alphabetic order, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26, Major League Baseball is 162. And there's another relevant cipher where you multiply each letter times 6, so it's English ordinal times 6. If you just write MLB in this method, it's also 162. 27, using the alphabet, 27 outs per team. The Yankees lead Major League Baseball with 27 championships. You go over to the NBA, the Celtics lead with 17 championships, NBA 17. Anyhow, here we are in 2017. I've said that this is a big year for the Cavs, the 17th team to join the NBA from the 17th state, Ohio. Big year for them to be in the NBA championship. But if there was any other team this year, it could be the Celtics because of their 17 connection. Anyway, we're coming back to the death of Dan Rooney today on the 103rd day of the year. Now understanding how relevant this language of gematria is. And that's just a taste. There's so much more. But look at this. So much lines up with today beyond just that. His birthday is July 20th. He was born 1932. Show you what's cool about 32 in regards to the NFL. There's 32 teams in the NFL. NFL 32. America also has gematria of 32. And the date we were established, July 4th, 1776. And numerology, that's a date with 32 numerology. You see? So Dan Rooney, born in a fitting year to be, a big face in the NFL, America's game. But from today, April 13th, to his upcoming birthday is 98 days. And the upcoming NFL season is the 98th NFL season. As I've been explaining NFL fans, last year I said why the Patriots would win the Super Bowl before it was played, how it had everything to do with it being the 97th season. Bill Belichick, 97. 97's the 25th prime. If the AFC were to win the Super Bowl last year, which they did, it was going to be their 25th Super Bowl win. They got it. It was also Tom Brady's 25th playoff win all time, and then they even came back from 28-3 down 25 points. And look at your halftime performer of the Super Bowl, Lady Gaga. Look up her birthday. It's March 28th. 28/3. Look up the day Tom Brady came back, the episode of The Simpsons cartoon, that same day that Tom Brady came back from his suspension, was called The Town. It was about Brady and the Patriots. It was season 28, episode 3. You got to know the language of numbers to see how this world's being scripted around you. Rig sports, murder by numbers, it's all part of a code. We'll talk about whose code this is at the end, because it's very clear. So 98 days, from his death to his upcoming birthday, 98th season approaching. Speaking of Patriots, check it out. Patriots gematria of 98. How about Tom Brady? 98. Patriots, Steelers. We'll see what happens. But we all know who Tom Brady's kryptonite is, and that's Eli Manning, also in 98. So anyhow, Dan Rooney has died before his 85th birthday, 98 days before his 85th birthday. The upcoming Steelers season will be the 85th season. They were established in 33. That's 84 years ago, but you got to count the 33 season too. So you played the 33 season, plus this will be 84 more seasons. 85th season coming up. National Football League, 85. The NFL founded in Chicago. The Chicago Bears haven't won since the 85-86 season. The two teams that established the NFL were the Bears and the Chicago Cardinals, who are now the Arizona Cardinals, who have the longest sports losing streak in terms of championships in the United States of America. They were in second place until the Cubs broke the streak last year by the numbers. Something I said would happen in spring training. Very clear to see. You know this language. Look, Major League 108. The movie Major League with the Indians came out 27 years earlier. The tallest building in Chicago. Willis Tower, 108 stories. Willis Tower, 57. World Series, 57. Remember that 147. We'll talk about it. But anyway, National Football League, 85, Steelers, 85th season. This man dead before his 85th birthday at age 84. Now, the Steelers were established 84 years ago. United States of America, 84. Their star player is Antonio Brown, who every single game of his career is scripted by the numbers and becomes somewhat predictable sometimes if you know the language, like how I predicted his 2-touchdown performance because it had everything to do with 42. We'll talk about 42. He had his first 2 receptions of that game were 2 receptions for 2 touchdowns for 42 yards for his 42nd career touchdown, which I talked about even before the game happened. Anyway, United States of America, 84. Rooney, who died today, was a Jesuit, the Masonic order within the Catholic Church, which has much influence over football. Look at this. Super Bowl 51 was 51 days from Pope Francis's birthday, right? Francis equals 119, like Vatican, like Falcons. And Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, has the same birthday as the Jesuit order. The Jesuits, the Catholic Church, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, having 84 birth numerology. The Falcons wear red and black, the color of the Jesuits. After the Falcons blew it in the Super Bowl, Interstate 85 burned down by the numbers. See my work on it. Interstate 85, National Football League 85. Look at what the gematria is of Atlanta, Georgia. And if you look at Atlanta, Georgia, they're on the 84th meridian. They've been in Super Bowls 33 and 51. 33 plus 51, 84. All things I've been talking about. These rituals persist. United States of America 84, Jesuit 84, Masonry, again the Jesuits, the Masonic order within the Catholic Church. If you never read the book 1984 by George Orwell, member of the Fabian Society, a society about world domination, he wrote the book 1984. The Fabian Society was established in 1884. 84, boss number. Comes back to Masonry. We'll get to it. But from his book, football, beer, and above all, gambling filled up the horizon of their minds. To keep them in control was not difficult. That's from his book 1984 about the nation of people ruled over by war and rumors of war, and they don't know what the hell's going on, but they're always told to follow and be afraid and don't talk back and don't question. Just like America. That is the United States of America, the book 1984, written after World War II. This man from the Fabian Society, remember the United States of America is just part of the New World Order, but also relevant from the last Super Bowl, Super Bowl 51, to today is 67 days, our blood sacrifice number, blood sacrifice 67. Dan Rooney in gematria sums to 42. So does Jesuit. So does Freemason. So does touchdown. So does Hail Mary. Do a web search for 42 and Hail Mary. You're going to see Hail Marys that brought the score to 42, thrown from the 42-yard line. Last year we had Aaron Rodgers on 4th and 2 from the 42, get the Hail Mary to close out the half. Just before that, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman talking about how Aaron Rodgers is the best in the league at Hail Marys, which was 2 days after I put out a video about 42 and Hail Marys and it being the 42-year anniversary of Roger Staubach's Hail Mary. But anyway, think about Hail Marys and the Catholics and the Jesuits, Catholics, Jesuits, Hail Mary, Sunday, the Catholic Church made the day of worship Sunday, football on Sunday. And what am I saying here? I mean, how am I leaving this off the chart? Sunday. Sunday. This man's dead at 84. Football legend. Sunday 84. You see? Got to get that one back up there. But anyway, the Big G, the Freemasons. This is all Freemasonry. Freemasonry created American football. Freemasonry created all the sports of the world. The rest of the football they created too. That's why it's 11 on 11, the master number. Freemasons into this old world knowledge, living by the numbers, master numbers, numerology, gematria. Anyway, the Big G also represents 42 in two forms of gematria. A lot of people who've gotten out of Freemasonry have explained that at the highest ranks it's all satanic, it's all sick, it's all about control and misleading and deceiving. The word satanic, 67. Freemasonry has the gematria of 67. And again, this man's also dead 67 days from the Super Bowl. Number of blood sacrifice. From April 13th, the day he's died, to the start of the upcoming season, which will be September 7th, a Thursday, is 147 days, or 21 weeks. You see, 147 days. If you caught it earlier, that number was coded into World Series. Special number. Freemason, 147. Conspiracy, 147. 94, 147. Remember the Cubs? They had that big tribute in their 94th win of the season, and I said there's further proof that the Cubs are going to win the World Series in Game 7 on November 2nd. Go back and watch my video from the day of. That was 47 days before Game 7 of the World Series, before it was even set. And just like I said at the beginning of the playoffs, why it would be Cubs and Indians. It's all scripted. But 94, 147, here's why 94 matters. Daniel Milton Rooney equals 94. The full name of Dan Rooney. Daniel Milton Rooney also sums to 220. In the same method, National Football League 220. And look at what 220 is. Just lose that zero. 22, the master builder number. And, again, the Freemasons are about numerology. They're also builders. Master Builder 147. 22 is the Master Builder. 22 men on the football field, 11 on 11, So there it is. That's why Dan Rooney's really dead today. This is what goes on in the world of professional sports and celebrity. To get to be a Dan Rooney, you have to sell out to the game. Because ultimately, it's not Dan Rooney who ever really was in control of the Steelers. None of these team owners that we know, Jerry Jones, Arthur Blank, none of them. Robert Kraft, none of them. Paul Allen, none of them. They don't really run the teams. They're just the face. It's the people who control this world. The international bankers, the warmongers, the industrialists. The sports are their toy for the public to keep them pacified so that they don't rise up against the tyranny. And look, you have a world of men who are dissatisfied, miserable, but the sports game gets them by, In a way, I'm almost one of those people, or have been at a point in my life. My dad's one of those people. Almost every man I know is one of those people. But men need to know what's really going on. They need to go back and read George Orwell's 1984 and then take a look at this world we're living in. I only figured out this knowledge because I've been looking at this world with open eyes for so long. It took me more than 10 years of being awake and aware of rigged sports, bogus news, fear propaganda programming to figure out this numerical code. But now that I figured it out, it's just undeniable. You can just sit here and decode these things in 5 minutes. This news just broke. I already got the video to you. All right, truth seeker. Until next time.